Everybody sees the outcome, nobody sees the journey, but nobody knows what's actually like behind the work. 3 months before that job, I didn't have the money to buy a plane ticket to go to the audition. I jumped in a friend's Honda Civic and drove to Dallas.
That would have stopped most people.
You reach that time in your life where you're like, put up or shut up, because I did this thing that I said yes and did this thing for free. 2 years later, this event happened.
You never know what decision that you make now can affect you in a positive way in the future. If you don't continue to move forward, that's the inconsistency versus the consistency.
I feel like to do where you're going and where you're headed, I'm giving myself 5 years. You're giving yourself a timeline within which to fail.
You think about what are all the times that maybe you didn't take an opportunity. I'm very excited to introduce to you a longtime friend, colleague in the industry. I met him through my first managers, Rick and Andy Nathanson. They were working with him at the time, and I grew up watching not just Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, but Sammo Hung in particular, because he could move just as fast as Jackie Chan, but was twice the size. And Jet Li, because he was a long-time, 8-time national wushu champion, had perfect precision in his technique. So my eye gravitated towards him and this character that he played, Wang Fei Hong. It was the righteous, do-gooder of the Chinese, people. And they did Once Upon a Time in China 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they did In America, number 6. And I found out that they were working with this actor who was starring in the film, and he actually played the character that they remade the movie later with Jackie Chan, but he's the original, and now he's gone through this journey from actor to stunt to fight and stunt coordinating, second-year directing, winning a ton of awards, and now directing. Let's give it up for Jeff Wolfe. Before we roll any clip, then you tell me, look, we're just here to listen to your stories. You have so much to share. Is there anything that you'd like to open with?
Well, if I could come up with half the energy that Mike has, I hope I can get up and down and get into this. Anything I'd like to open with, listening to what you guys are listening to out here earlier, the sniper thing really stood out to me as far as what you're going to get into, making decisions and taking steps and moving when you feel to move, when you see something, and the journey that I've had. I mean, it's insane, like hearing you talk about Andy and Rick and Jet Li and 30 years ago, literally, which is just crazy to me, but 30 years ago.
And let me just say,
yeah,
like when it came to my idol at the time, it was Jet Li. And when I was like, wow, I want to do what this guy does, what would be a dream to like be on screen with this guy. And then I meet someone who's actually on screen with it. Like, it was just, you have to understand, if you ever like had a dream of meeting someone one day, like that was it for me in that moment. And then, I don't know if you remember, but then like you invited us over to your house at one point. But yeah, meeting you in that moment was such a huge deal for me, because like you were there, like you made it. You were on screen with Jet Li and Sammo, doing all the fight coordinating and second-year directing, right?
No, yeah. Actually, Sammo directed it.
Oh, he directed it?
Yeah. He's second. Then when I went to Hong Kong and did, he's second-year director with Choi Hark that we did Knock Off of Van Damme.
Right.
Stuff. Yeah. So that, but it's funny, like, that is a great a point on perspective, because everybody sees the outcome, nobody sees the journey. Everybody sees what people put on their Instagram, but nobody knows what's actually like behind the work and behind what's happening to get there and stuff. So as Mike talks about feeling that and seeing his idol and me working with his idol, as exciting as that was for me, 3 months before that job, I didn't have the money to buy a plane ticket to go to the audition. I mean, that was just the reality. So, the perspective of that, of actually jumping out there and doing it, and the attrition to actually go do it, is what matters. When I was telling Mike earlier, when that job came up, when that opportunity came up, it was just an audition. But unfortunately, the audition was in Dallas, Texas. So I heard about this thing, and it's Sammo Hung, who I knew, who was to me, I knew Jet Li, and Jet Li is amazing, but Sammo to me was like, holy crap. For me, that was like the big brother Jackie Chan, director, action actor, like all this, amazing stuff. So I was like, I could audition for Sammo, but I have to get to Dallas, and I don't have the money. So I was like, well, you reach that time in your life where you're like, put up or shut up. And I jumped in a friend's Honda Civic and drove to Dallas. And, left on a Friday, got there Saturday, late Friday night, Saturday morning, whatever the hell it was. Slept a few hours, went in, auditioned for Sammo in a hotel room, got the sides, did a few kicks. He laughed at a couple of things. I did my splits, I did my axe kick, I did, all these things. It was hilarious. And that was it. And I was like, okay, there you go. And got a ticket for speeding in Dallas also. It was another stand. It sucked. And drove back home and got home Saturday night, maybe something, AM and Sunday AM or something. And Sunday afternoon got called and said, we're flying you out on Monday, and got the job as Billy the Kid. You're playing, the lead in this movie. So I was like, so anyway, that was the, again, there's been a lot of those, but I think if we want to call it opening with, I think my story and the story of the people that I try to surround myself with, they all have that common thread. And that common thread is, I could have gone here, or, like the masses, I could have gone and had ice cream, or I could make this different kind of trajectory happen. And that makes all the difference,
Tape?
For sure. Yeah.
So,
I don't know what this is, but
I don't put it. It's old. It's a little grainy. But then there's he provided me with an old acting reel with some clips and stuff. If you don't know, this is Jet Li.
That's what you want to
know. This is Sammo. He was my favorite of the three
brothers,
amigos, Jackie, Sammo, Yun-Biu, that came out of the Peking Opera. And of course, The Rock and Ryan Gosling. Here we go.
Wait, oh God.
What's life, man? Folks around here call me Billy.
Nice to meet you.
I am Wong Fei-Ho. Pleasure. Wait, where you are?
I am Diana.
Pleasure, man. Wait. Nothing. See, now this here's America. I'm right there, that's where we are. I'm right there, that's my hometown. Wow, yeah. My folks and I will live back east for a while, but things didn't work out, so we moved out here looking for a new start. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Ma'am?
Hi.
Yeah? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You can't just say yeah, it's pretty dumb.
You stupid son of a bitch.
See what I'm down, Bob. It doesn't matter now.
It does matter.
I thought this was a dogfight. I was under the impression the objective was to win.
And the objective was to show what the Sabres could do in actual combat. And in combat, no pilot is going to crater his own plane.
I did.
Watch your back.
It's impossible.
Pathetic. That's been living off his old man's reputation his whole life.
People are coming for the plane. Go, go! It's now or never.
That ain't your truck, Jose.
I'm just checking it out, my friend.
Why don't you get out of the truck, friend? Tell me who the fuck you are.
Well, apparently I'm Jose.
You jacking this truck?
Fuck off.
That guy. Yeah, cool.
So,
For all of the resume of being on camera, that's the one thing that I literally have gone. This is a funny story. I went with a rock star, like a huge rock star friend of mine. We were in Ireland at the big church library where they filmed Harry Potter and the huge library thing and all that stuff, whatever that is, a college. And that's an amazing place. And they've got a big bookstore or whatever thing, you buy stuff after, and I'm doing it, and I'm in line. And this huge rock star friend of mine is next to me, and the guy behind the counter is like, "Were you the guy in Drive?" And I was literally like, it was hilarious. This guy's so used to getting recognized, and I was like, yeah, like there's like, so that, anyway, it's just funny to me that one scene of me getting my head completely stomped on, like, I see one that stands out to a lot of people. That's funny. Yeah. That's what you get recognized for.
yeah, you'll have to look that up.
Oh yeah, the Bond. I've had that a couple times. That one was not so good.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay, yeah, that's straw.
So then, tell us about the transition from acting to the stunts, like filmmaking.
Sure. So yeah, the nutshell version is I used to do music in the Bay Area. I my license plate on my car is actually GED to DGA. So I didn't even graduate high school. I got my GED. Went to 2 years of Actors Theater in San Francisco. When I was a kid, I got in a lot of trouble. I had a probation officer who got me away from craziness in the family, and in being able to do that, he put me in. He was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and Danzan Ryu Okinawan jiu-jitsu. He took me and put me into that for 4 years till I turned 18. I had to go 3 times a week. Emancipated me, got an apartment, and gave me life, basically. So that kind of, in that, watching Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Van Damme back in the day, all those guys, that's what I wanted to do, wanted to become. So at 18, 19 years old, I left the Bay Area, drove down here, slept on a martial arts studio floor. I met Byung-Yu, who was Taekwondo. I slept on his school floor in North Hollywood at the time, where he had a place. And I had a rice cooker in the room, and I taught his students jiu-jitsu in exchange for Taekwondo, because I wanted to learn flashier stuff. But it was always pushing for acting. That was the thing. It wasn't anything. Stunts was not in mind whatsoever. Went out and did a bunch of auditions. Got, as I said, the Once Upon a Time in China job. That turned into going to Hong Kong and doing knockoff with Sammo and Van Damme. Coming back, Sammo actually came back and lived with me for a few months while he was trying to get directing jobs out here, and then he got martial law. And so he ended up moving his wife out and staying here doing martial law. I did that with him and continued on. Basically was teaching martial arts in between going out for acting jobs. Until, to your question, somebody called and said, "Hey, could you go make this audition? It's to double this guy on this movie, The Scorpion King. They need somebody who can do double swords and fights." And so I was like, yeah, sure, I can, go check that out. So I walked in, did the sword audition, double swords. There's going to be fire. There's going to be all this stuff. And just, the way that it works, there was a PA who came up and she said, "Here's your chai." And I was like, "Thank you. I didn't order or whatever." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And she went over to the actor and gave him the chai. And the guy was there to double. And so the guy was like, "Well, shit, I guess you have the job, because if she's going to recognize you for, to be that guy, there you go." So yeah, that was kind of my first thing. So I did that, and it was a 9 or 10 month job. And while I was, doing that, suddenly, that and teaching was like, oh my God, SAG, you can be working, I can be doing what I love, I can be doing the action. And it was just like a whole new door opened up. So that was one of those moments of like, I never even thought about that. But the problem with that for me was, I'm not an actor. And what I had to kind of change that internally before people around me kind of caught on. I was like, actually, I mean, I am an actor. I go out and I do this. I do, auditions. I do this all the time. But especially back then, it was like, oh, you're a stunt guy or you're an actor. Like, which one are you, kind of thing. And they didn't like, both, until we kind of, myself and some other people, I feel like we were responsible for changing that tide, which was like, no, I can actually save you money because you don't have to pay for two people. I can do the dialogue you need me to do, and I can do the fight scenes that you need me to do, and show up and do all that. So my resume grew because of the fact that I could do both. And I always tell, if I do seminars or do people, especially with stunt people, like one of the most important things to me is go do an acting class, go do many acting classes. It may not be that you want to, but you may find yourself in a position that you need to be able to do that. And bottom line is, even if you're playing a character or doubling somebody, you're playing that character for that scene, and you should be able to actually perform like that character and be that person, not just do the action. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Can you talk
Yeah, sure.
And like what that meant for you, because it was during that show that you filmed Penance, right?
That's right.
I don't know if we have time to show it, because I do want to show your Outbreak trailer.
Oh, sure.
But he directed this film that came out of this show. Well, you talk about it, because
sure.
I just thought that the way that happened, like, you were in a perfect position to capitalize on that, and you did. So I would love for you to.
Sure. I mean, so yeah, that's an interesting one. So that started actually with a movie called Zathura. That was Jon Favreau was the next Jumanji, basically. It was in space, and there was these creatures, these Zorgon things, and I was one of the creatures that had this 100-some-pound suit on, doing stuff. And while we were doing that, the coordinator came and said, again, because of my sword stuff, could you do a previous reel, because Jon Favreau is thinking about doing this movie. It was actually I Dream of Jeannie. He's thinking about doing a remake, but he wants to do it with cool sword fights and all this stuff. So sure, so I do this reel, previous thing, this idea, I give it to him, he loves it, never hear another thing about it, just gone. 2 years later, I get a call from the same coordinator, and he says, hey, can you make a meeting tomorrow with Jon Favreau and J.J. Abrams? Yes, that was exactly my answer. The answer is yes. So I go down to whatever his place was, Bad Robot, and have this meeting, and they're going to do this TV show, Revolution, and it's got a lot of sword fights and action, and they wondered, because of that reel that I did for free 2 years earlier, can I go and do this thing? So it was literally all because I did this thing that I said yes, and did this thing for free and pulled people together, got it all done, and here you go. That 2 years later, this event happened. And that is what led me then to Jon Favreau, again, full circle, was directing the pilot. So we went to Atlanta and he did the pilot. A step further than that, I went and took my previs on the action, on the biggest action sequence, which is a huge sword fight in the Capitol building in Georgia with, 15 guys against Billy, the lead. So I shot that previs, got that all done, went out to Atlanta, looked at the area, showed Jon Favreau, and I said, so when you shoot this and when we do blah, blah, and at the time he was on the board of the DGA, he said, I'm not shooting it, you are. And I was like, oh, okay. So bless you. So that turned into my first second unit job on the pilot of Revolution. So the rest of the next 2 years, 45 episodes, I basically shot second unit on every episode. That kind of, I had started getting the bug to direct. And so in doing that and seeing the actors that were around that I had, available to me, I was like, well, I want to direct one of the episodes. So I put in to direct the episode through Eric Kripke, the showrunner. And he said, yeah, absolutely. You're directing all the action. You might as well, do one. Let me check with Warner Brothers. Well, Warner Brothers came back to the stunt guy actor thing. Well, we know you can direct action, but can you direct the tone of a scene? So I didn't take that as a no, like, oh, they're stopping me. They're saying no. They're asking a question. So I'll show you. So I, that week, wrote Penance, and the following weekend, directed it. We shot it in a day.
So wait, just in case they missed it, that was really fast. From start to finish, you had an idea, you wrote it, and you shot it in how long?
1 week. Yeah. So they said that, and literally, I remember the day because I was driving home from set, and the news was on, and it said something about the Catholic Church and like something being an upset or whatever going on, and I was like, well, there's a current story, one that everybody knows about. I can do that with a little bit of a twist, and I'm going to do it. The key is there's going to be no action, so I'm going to just show them a story, and here you go. And then it did, like 30 film festivals and Toronto and all that stuff. So yeah,
it's amazing. We don't have time to show all of the amazing stuff. I'm gonna send it to you guys. You have to watch it. It's fantastic. It's like, I don't even want to say anything because I might like slip and give something away. It's incredible. It's exactly how a short film, should be done. You've done several film festivals and shorts. Fast forward, there's so many. You have so many shows that you've done, from MacGyver to Rush Hour 2 recently after Revolution, and Rookie Feds. What else? Yeah. No. What? So now, like, after all of this, we reconnect. He wants to direct. He's got a project, and I was like, well, I'm working on the producing side. Let me see, if I can get this into some hands. And we did for a few months. We got it into some hands, and it got very close. But for whatever reason, it didn't move forward. And then he had said originally I could do it myself, and so we went on this journey. And then I came back and I said, well, I'll still continue, but think about doing it, right? This was like in February, March. Yeah. And then I think I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So talk about that decision to just do it versus waiting on other people to make your movie.
Just like you gave credit to your producer and the boss up there, I had a similar situation with my wife, basically, Jen, who said, nobody's going to do it for us, and we can either do it or whatever. She basically was, because what I in hindsight, I feel like everybody has their paper ceiling that they kind of feel like they stop at, and it can be a blind spot. You cannot be aware. And I was to the point where I was like, Revolution, Rush Hour, MacGyver, and then Rookie Feds. There was always oh yeah, you're going to direct next season. Oh shit, we're canceled. You're going to direct next season. Oh crap, we have a SAG strike. Now we're not on, and now we're back from the SAG strike. We're canceled. And like again, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was 8 years of like no actual, like, just that threshold, just that little, like, again, breaking through the paper ceiling, until Jen said, like, well, why don't you just do it? And I was like, well, you can't just do it. It's a movie. You can't just make a movie. I was like, no, I guess you can. And I'm like, but that means getting money, and it's a lot of money, and blah, blah, blah. So, but do you believe in yourself? Like, do you believe that you're going to make a good thing, or are you going to do it or not, or whatever? So we came up ourselves with about 300 grand, and then we went to friends and got another 350, and made $1 million. And literally, so it is what it is. It was, and people don't, a lot of people don't, it's out there now, you guys know, but people don't know, and they watch it like that. It's on Hulu, it's on Amazon Prime, it's on Disney Plus, it's whatever. And it was, well under $1 million for an entire movie called Outbreak. So what I did was really quick. I had been pushing about 5 different scripts, some that I wrote, some that I didn't. Outbreak I did write, and different budget levels. And we basically took the easiest to make, the cheapest, the fewest locations, the one that we could do, and got out there. And it was during the writer's strike, so all of my TV friends, Billy Burke from Fire Country, Taylor Hanley from Mayor of Kingstown, Raul Trujillo from Mayans, all these actors that I had worked with and friends with, none of them were working. So I was like, hey, you want to do a movie, a SAG movie, low budget, blah, blah, blah. And they're all, for you, with you, yeah, sure, relationships. So we did it during the writer's strike, and the SAG strike happened right in the middle of our production, and we lost a day, but we ended up shooting 19 days. And it was all planning and preparation. And when your $300,000 is on the line, you make sure you get it done correctly. So what I did was, and your friends, by the way, money too. So I drew the entire movie. Not only did I write it, but I knew what I wanted to see. So I storyboarded the entire movie. So that when we were there shooting, we had 2 cameras. We would shoot no more than a 12-hour day, and we would always have extra time at the end of the day because we knew what we were going to do, and so we would get extra shots, and it would, it worked out great. So we sold it. We got distribution. We got into a film festival. We played at the Man Chinese, premiered there, and then we had a 5-day theatrical release Friday the 13th of December of 24, and then sold to Hulu in May of this year. And it was the #2 movie on Hulu for like 3 weeks behind Predator. So, yeah, so
Love it.
so that was the first one. Now we're looking to do the second one.
Freddie John James did the same thing. I pushed him to just get it done, and he wrote and financed and everything very quickly, right? Like and then you shot it within like 3-4 months?
Yeah. Pre-production was like a month. The principal photography was 15 days, and now we're in post.
So, yeah, they just finished. So awesome. Oh, and by the way, so we did this free event 3 weeks ago, and it was to support the community. Like 58 people showed up. These are the most serious, and we always talk about, if you don't pay attention, and they're like, these are the 1%ers that are, really wanting to make a difference and do something. So, I believe that when you speak these words, you guys probably have a lot of ideas, like, especially, he told me the story about the audition and getting in the car and driving to Texas. That would have stopped most people just for one. And she's from Texas. Yeah, she's those are the things that stop people. And just hearing it from him, if you think about what are all the times that maybe you didn't take an opportunity, you never know. He said 2 years prior is what he did for free, and that paid off 2 years later. You never know what decision that you make now can affect you in a positive way in the future. But if you don't make those decisions for yourself, if you don't continue to move forward, that's the inconsistency versus the consistency. That's the key to getting the results, right? Who's got the time? Okay, so should we show the Outbreak trailer? I want to show this because I had the privilege of reading the script, before they made it, and I was just excited because, it's my friend who's going to make this, and I already saw what he was capable of as a director. And so, in short form, but then this was full-length feature. So the trailer gives you a glimpse, but I was really excited to see it, and we got to see it when you premiered it at the festival.
This is Ranger Neil Morris. If anybody can hear me, whatever's happening to everybody is happening fast.
Hi, Mr. Morris. I found some stuff in Ben's. I know this meant a lot to him. I thought you'd want it back.
You gotta talk to me, man. You're my best friend. I want to help you, Neil. I don't need more help.
here. Something very bad is happening. Everybody right now is infected.
It's gonna end me.
I need you to lock the doors. So yeah, if you need to go, you go.
What if he comes back and we're not here? How can I give up hope?
This is a knife. What are you doing to the bad guys?
Yes. It's a zombie film, but it's not a zombie film. Can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can give it away. It's okay. So basically, I love movie. I mean, I love like M. Night Shyamalan. I love twists. I like if you watch. Okay, but I mean, yeah, whatever. But to me, look, you just being spoon-fed something to me is boring. So I like twisty things. Penance was one of those things. If there's a through line to stuff that I enjoy doing, it's at the end of it. If you go, if I make somebody go, holy crap, or think or whatever and feel, then that's the point. I mean, we do that with action, we do that with story, and I that's kind of like the behind something like that, and be able to create something like that again. How many zombie movies are there? They're a dime a dozen kind of thing. So to make something different or to make something stand out, and leave you with a little bit of like, at the end, it's kind of the point.
So
To watch it,
yeah.
check it out.
We're always talking about struggle as part of a journey. What would be a few of the moments where you can share, because like a lot of this is your journey and we're highlighting all these incredible moments. You talked about sleeping on the floor and having a rice cooker and all of these things. What were a couple moments where you feel would be valuable for them in terms of the struggles that you face as you are transitioning from one area to another and trying to go to that next level?
I mean, it's all been really pretty easy. So no. Sorry. You know what? You either are an actor or you're not. You're either a director. You're either a creator or you're not. You either decide, I feel like, to do where you're going and where you're headed, or like when people come and say to me, I'm giving myself 5 years in LA. You're giving yourself a timeline within which to fail. Either if you're saying I'm going to be an actor, well, whether you're on the next Mission Impossible or you're at the Santa Monica Theater Playhouse, you're an actor. Then you're an actor. Like, you're not just giving doing that kind of timeline or giving up. And I think for me, that like what stands out, like even watching that video with which I haven't seen forever, but the acting reel thing, Green Lantern was a perfect highlight of that. If you guys notice, there's a part where I'm talking to him at nighttime. I say, you're pathetic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like full of sweat. I was sweating because the night before, in that scene, in that fight scene, I get hit and I get knocked 30 feet over a pickup truck and into the bed of the truck. And I did a big winch move on that. And ended up dislocating my shoulder we did the stunt. It was great. And then we went to lunch and then came back and then hurry, jump over the truck, and just the last shot and falling in the truck. And if you watch the movie, you'll actually see I go in and the truck bed was wet. We didn't know we were in a hurry. And I hit the truck bed and my body went over the top and I sat up and my shoulder was like down here. And so, yeah, it was, whatever. So they took me to the hospital, put it back in. But the thing is that I had a part on this movie and I had 3 months on the movie as an actor, but I had this one fight scene, and the fight scene was the next night. So that stuff. So all the sweat was because it was in so much pain from this thing being in there. And I had that choice kind of, okay, well, do I throw away 3 months and go home and get this looked at and blah, 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 or do we just go through this and get it done? And that next night was the fight scene. We changed, if you watch the movie, it's all rights because I can't use my left hand. So I'm basically just throwing rights at him constantly. And we get through it, and then I had 3 more months of work, and then I came back, and the doctor was like, you're ripped out, every rotator cuff muscle is completely torn and gone, so like, what have you been doing? I was like, well, I worked on a movie for 3 months. Anyway, all that full circle to like, you either, like, it's you guys doing the push-ups, like you either keep going or you don't. Joe Rogan, to me, says it really well. You can love him or hate him, but he says, because I do a cold plunge every morning, 3.5 minutes at 48 degrees or whatever, and he says my general is stronger than my bitch. And like, I always have the bitch in me. I have the voice in me that says, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got that voice. It's which one is stronger though? Is the general stronger than that? Is the voice that supersedes that says, yeah, but I can keep going. Yeah, but I can, do this where other people can't do it. That's what I think every time, regardless of circumstances, what's going to push you forward and make it. It's the difference of, like you said, the 58 people that were here before and the 18 people that are here now. The difference, is you guys are the ones that said I can do it. So.
That sums it up. That was perfect. Let's open it up to questions. If you guys have questions, fire away. We're going to do a quick 5-minute round, and then we got to wrap it up.
Cool.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's up, man? Josh Jordan.
Hey.
Colonel Bel Air. Thank you for doing this. Quick question. So, for an actor with athletic ability, what's the smartest way to build a reputation that someone directors want in their actions?
Great question. Preparation for me. I mean, I think it's if I know what I'm doing, I show up and I'm not a pain in the ass, and I literally, if I know my job and their job kind of thing, I can. Meaning, if I'm the actor in the scene, I know the dialogue, I know what happened before, I know kind of probably, I pay attention to what they're doing and what they want to see, and I show up in that place without them asking me, I'm going to be such an easy, person to get along with and deal with, that on the next one, then you end up, that your picture passes the table, and they're like, oh yeah, that guy's great. You know what I mean? And that's that attrition that happens with resumes, that, you end up seeing, huge resumes or recurring, like you're doing, things like that, where you end up getting in with something, you get seen over and over again, and you continue to get called. You know what I mean? I think that's the way it works. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
How does that agree?
When you were essentially living out of the teaching all the time, I teach as well. How did you balance that life between teaching and bridging the gap?
Between teaching and bridging the gap, it's a good question. There definitely was a bit of pliability. There was a back and forth there. There was a period of probably 2 years where I remained teaching, and it was probably smart because but I think what happened for me was that when Scorpion King actually came, it turned into a longer run. And what actually would have been unfair to go back to teaching the students that I was teaching, because being gone for so long, I owed it to them to allow them to keep going with somebody that they were used to, whereas I would be kind of taking advantage of what it was. So I think for me, when I was teaching and I was gone for a week, that's cool. But when it got to the point where it was like, okay, this is now a full-time career. This is 9 months of my life, and frankly, a lot more money than teaching for 9 months. You know what I mean? So when you're like, okay, this is now I'm doing SAG work and I'm doing this for 9 months and this is my life, then maybe I come in and guest and help out here and there and have a presence because I love doing it. But I'm also being fair to those students as well, that I'm not going to be pulling the rug out from them all the time, or because when you learn from one person and you learn from somebody else, it's different. So it's not fair. You know what I mean? To give back in that way. So yes.
Does casting look at people like a either or situation, like are you either a stuntman or an actor? I know you touched on it lightly about how they look at you as 2 for 1, this is good, but do they like to categorize you and put you in a like, oh, he's just a stuntman, we'll get somebody else for the main acting?
For sure. I think they can. I think it's important, and you learn through time you put your time in, you learn which casting directors kind of give off that vibe more than others, and those are the ones that I go in and just prove them wrong. You know what I mean? I just go in and like, okay, I'm gonna be more prepared. I'm gonna go back to being this thing and like show up and and you could see it. I mean, I remember times where I could actually see on their face where they'd be like, oh, like, you know, this whatever, and it's just about doing something different. I remember there's certain auditions. There's one that I got that I thought was kind of fun. That originally was one word. The audition, I drove so far to get to this place, do this thing, and I get the sides, and it's like, I think it's hey, like hey, you know, whatever, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. So I, and there were 12 people in the audition in the room. I'm like, 12 people want to say hey, you know what I mean? So I took a pen that was like the sign-in thing or whatever, and I wrote hey on my hand. And so then I went into the audition, did the audition, and they do the thing, and I was like, hey. And I put my hand back down, whatever, and the casting director just laughed. Like, she knew that, like, obviously I could remember the word hey, but I had written this on my hand as a joke for like, oh yeah, I got it. You know, it's blah, blah. And I got the job. And it turned into actually they wrote it and they did this and whatever, blah, blah. But because I had personality, because I wasn't every stunt guy that went in there and went, hey, okay, thank you. You know, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to do it. You know what I mean? So I think proving them wrong is the bottom line, but there's also this, there's the, I'm going to prove you wrong and screw you and I'm angry and I hate you, or, it's unfortunate that you think that way, I'm going to prove you wrong. You know what I mean? Like there's the difference in where I come from with that. Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of actors, A-listers, not A-listers. The best that you've seen, what do they have in common?
Great question. The best that they've seen, what do they have in common? Well, I think the thing that stands out for me is they love what they do. I think the people that I've worked with that are really good, like, it's about the character, it's not about them. Like Sean Penn, Ray Stevenson, there are certain actors that off the cuff that I think about, like case in point when I did Punisher with Ray in Montreal and got there. Ray's larger than life, with big ego. He's a great guy, God rest his soul. He said, we are Frank Castle. I haven't done action and martial arts for 30 years. I've acted for 30 years or whatever. Us together is this character, this iconic Punisher character, whatever. So the lack of ego and what it's about is, where as opposed to just caring and loving like what they do, the creativity. I think that's how they stand out. I think that's the biggest thing across the board.
What fear have you overcome for the past 20 years that has shaped who you are today?
Fear. I think the fear that stands out is ceiling, like is being given a ceiling, being told that it's like you're gonna go to LA, really? You're gonna go be, whatever, you're gonna be, you didn't even graduate high school, like, that kind of thing. That voice, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where you can either show up one way or another. That voice can either be the thing that holds you down, or it can be the thing that pushes you. You know what I mean? That gets behind you and pushes you. So not in the way of like, I hate you all and I'm gonna prove you all wrong, but in the way of like, this is my shot. This is my only life. This is my chance. So like, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna take that as fire and fuel, and I'm gonna like use it. And the funny thing is, it never goes away, never dies, but it always it comes in every level. So it came at the level of second a director. Oh, can I do this? Am I faking it? Am I, whatever, blah, blah, am I going to do it right? Then you start doing it, you start feeling comfortable, you're like, I got this. And then you do the next thing. And that, even when I directed my movie, it was, after putting all the stuff together and getting everything done, being there on the first day was like, oh shit, there we go. Let's see how we do. But by the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I got this. Cool. You know what I mean? Like, there's that. So you just have to face that every time. And it's different for everybody, but I think for me, that is that fire. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. I think so.
As far as, like, I know, just to piggyback on what you were saying about, like, actor and stunt performer, is there, which one would you prefer as far as like for stunt performers, or even like submitting to stunt coordinators? Is it relevant to say action actor or stunt actor, or is it still only actor or stunt performer?
I think again it goes back to the coordinator that you're dealing with, just like the casting place that you're dealing with. Have two resumes. I always used to have two. I had an actor resume and an actor reel. I had a stunt reel. I could give them both if they needed both for that part. If the part has acting in it, I'd say I'm a stunt actor. If it was a stunt part or coordinator, then I'd go with the stunt thing. But have different packages to be able to mix and match to put in. Be prepared for everything, basically. One thing isn't gonna, one shoe isn't gonna fit the whole thing. You know what I mean? To have a tool belt, basically, as opposed to a hammer. Yeah.
You financed your movie and asking money from your friend. Well, I'm an actress, and I wrote and directed 2 short films to give myself, outside of stereotyped casting that I've been playing, and I would like to feature and the finance is always the obstacle, and what you don't know you can pay your friend back, and I mean why. And I hear that from other film great makers all the time, and call your rich friend. And it's really hard. And what is your sort of psychological?
Yeah, it's a great question. I understand. There are barriers and blocks in everything, and financial is a really big one for sure. So it can be a big one. So, but it goes back to that choice of either you're going to do it or not. So what can you do? If you can't get $500,000, what can I do? Okay. So I have a house, I have a room, I have a friend with a dirt lot up in Castaic, I have a truck. Okay. I'm going to do this movie. I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to make half of the movie driving. I'm going to use my truck. I'm going to use my friend's truck. I'm going to use the Castaic place for half of the shoot. So we have what looks like a $5 million movie on a less than $1 million budget, because half of our thing is shot there, and all the cars in the movie are ours. So it's just a matter of what do I have? What can I do? And maybe for you, I can shoot this scene out of this movie, and I can use that and edit it and put music to it and do all these favors and do all these things. It's 5 minutes of my 90-minute movie, but now I can take that so that when an investor crosses my path, I don't just say, hey, I want to make a movie. Can you, whatever, I can say, hey, can I get your email and send you this clip of the movie I want to make? Watch this and tell me what you think. And here's 5 other movies that were made for this amount of money, and this is what they made. What do you think? As opposed to, I just want to make a movie. You know what I mean? So I guess in summation, my answer is, if you can't do this, what can you do? Do something, and then watch that snowball. Watch that become something. Cool.
Guys, let's give it up for Jeff Wolfe.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for coming out, brother.
Absolutely.